and welcome to California, where this three-city road trip continues through Baltimore, now in San Francisco before a stop in Colorado. But it's AT Park tonight for the opener of this three-game series, Marlins and Giants. With that, we say hi again, everybody, and welcome inside the broadcast booth. Paul Severino and Todd Hollinsworth. Well, this road trip started with a series victory in Baltimore, and overall, this Marlins club's been playing well so far.
Yeah, they've been playing great baseball, and it's some of the best baseball we've seen this year. Collective, we've seen good defense, we've seen good offense, obviously great pitching and a great bullpen. It's been fun. It's been the best part of the season, at least for me, because it's been collective so much. And again, you hope it carries over into this Giants series.
Collective and complete. And speaking of complete, that's exactly how the Marlins played the Giants when these two teams matched up about a week or so ago in Miami. But overall, whether it's in Miami or in San Francisco, especially here in California, the Marlins play very well.
And this is the great question everybody wants to know. Explain how the team picks up 18 wins in their last 25 games here in San Francisco. Sometimes it's unexplainable. The best answer probably is the cold weather. That's all I've got for you, really. When a team plays well and you kind of have a number, yes, it breeds confidence, and maybe the players remember it, but so much has happened, and there's always turnover. But when you put up numbers like that over a period of time, really, it's hard to explain.
Yeah, and overall, 8-2 since the start of last year against the San Francisco Giants. Justin Bohr in the lineup today at first base, and boy, oh boy, did he have a nice day yesterday.
Well, he certainly did, kind of busting out. First real big game here on this road trip. Last game in Baltimore. Two great swings, one on a fastball, one on an elevated changeup against Dylan Bundy. Just great stuff. Bundy had been in a great spot. Had gone 17 consecutive scoreless innings, and Justin Bohr said, enough of that already. 4 RBIs, great day. And here's what you love. You pair it with the fact that he's playing against the team that he hits the best. The San Francisco Giants, active leaders in all of Major League Baseball, minimum 50 at-bats. He's hitting 365, so he is one of the best against this Giants team, so hopefully he's heating up at the right time.
Well, if you want to talk leaderboards, then let's talk about tonight's starting pitcher for the Marlins, because if you look at strikeouts or strikeout rates or rookie things, whatever you want to talk about with Caleb Smith, he is up there, back off the bereavement list, and he has been terrific this year.
Well, and it's going to be a good challenge for him. I love the fact that some of the younger starters are getting opportunities to kind of double up on teams. This is going to be another example of that. Caleb Smith going up against the Giants. Last start against the Giants, a very good one, a quality start. Hopefully he can get that done tonight. But again, he's going to have to sequence really, really well against the lineup that just saw him.
And if it's not the strikeouts, it's the soft contact, which we just saw. There's been a lot of that the last few starts for Caleb Smith as well. When we come back, we'll talk about playing by the Bay. Some of the coaches weigh in. Marlins coaches playing out here in San Francisco after the break. For the Marlins and the Giants opener of this three-game set by the Bay. Let's go downstairs to Jessica Blaylock.
Hey, Paul, the Marlins only take one trip per season to San Francisco, so AT Park is a ballpark that they don't see very often. Here are a couple of Marlins coaches on how it plays and how you prepare for it.
This is really big here. It's a big ballpark, and we have to cover, according to the hitters and our pitchers, cover in the bigger part of the ballpark. So I'm trying to keep doubles not becoming triples, and they have some speed too, but we have to execute our pitches, and hopefully we keep the ball on the ground, which is most important, and weak pop-ups.
The reason I like this ballpark, or one of the reasons, is that they don't cross-cut the grass here. You cross-cut the grass, it kind of makes that snake effect when the ball's on the ground. They cut it all one direction. You can see it when you're up high above, so you get a truer roll with the ball.
Ballpark plays pretty big. You got to have some wind you got to deal with, but in general, you prepare the same way all the time. You don't really change for a ballpark, other than knowing like if there's funny little bounces and a little more wind, things like that.
Another thing is the wind here. So we talk about this beforehand too. The pop-ups, you can't really get too aggressive and call a pop-up way too early here, because it may start out in your direction and end up 40 feet from you. So the wind plays a factor here also.
You heard Don Mattingly and Perry Hill mention the wind. As you can see, it is blowing in pretty good. We've got first pitch coming up between the Giants and the Marlins here in San Francisco. But coming up next, we'll get you back to the studio in South Florida. Join Craig Minervini and Jeff Nelson for more on this ball game.
Marlins baseball on Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By WB Mason. Who but WB Mason, the official office supply company of the Miami Marlins. Chevrolet. See your South Florida dealer today. And by your local Toyota dealers. Toyota. Let's go places. A good look at Lombard Street, one of the many landmarks here in San Francisco. Always terrific to travel out here. A little chilly tonight, but kind of refreshing, actually.
I think that's the general consensus,
right?
Especially with the Marlins.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't want it to be too cold and cool them off. They've been playing some good baseball as of late. Starlin Castro is getting set to dig in. The lineup presented to you by Southwest. He leads off in the top spot for the first time since last Wednesday against the Giants. Brian Anderson with a 15-game on-base streak hits second, and Miguel Rojas back in the starting lineup as Andrew Suarez's first pitch is outside for ball one, and we are underway. First of a 3-game set, Marlins and Giants once again. Thanks so much for staying up late to watch Marlins baseball on Fox Sports Florida. And that one is inside. 2 balls and no strikes. A look here at Andrew Suarez, who again, as we'll say a lot throughout the series, back-to-back starts against the same club.
Right. This is the exact same matchup. You got Caleb Smith. You've got Suarez going at each other again. Suarez, 25 years old, 6 foot, 187 pounds, 3-7. The Giants are in his starts. He's only got 2 quality starts of his 10, and I think people around here are saying that with Zamarja coming back and Cueto on his way, he may be pitching for his rotation spot. Remember that last start against the Marlins? 5 innings, 5 hits, couple earned runs, did walk 2, struck out 3. He retired the first 8 batters in that game, and then Caleb Smith ripped a base hit into center field, and all of a sudden the Marlins at bat started to get a lot better.
His first strikeout of the night as he sets down Starlin Castro for the first out.
Let's go ahead and give you the Auto Nation scouting report of Suarez. Get ready.
I like that one.
You do, you? Well, you had a hand in it. That's right, you did. You kept busy on the flight last night. Righties hitting .304. 7 of the 8 home runs against him on the season. Of course, there's more to it than this. Righties hitting against his fastball, .404, and the four-seamer, .478. So keep an eye on that tonight. Now, the Marlins, all of their hits in the last game against him were from the righties, so that's something that stands out early and often. 9 ERA in the first inning, obviously 1 out already. 4 home runs allowed, something that stood out, and 12 for 24 if you can jump on that first pitch. He's had some damage done against him, hit or miss. He's pitched much better here at AT Park than he has on the road. His whip is much lower, but keep this in mind as well. 326 with runners in scoring position.
His 11th career major league start. And here is the 1-1 pitch to Anderson, who takes a called strike. It's a 15-game on-base streak for Brian Anderson. In that time, a couple of home runs, 10 RBIs, hitting .362 with a .449 on-base percentage, .603 slugging. Improving the overall numbers on the year. Just a shade under 300 as he is called out on strikes. And he asks home plate umpire Manny Gonzalez where exactly that pitch was.
Brian Anderson's got a gripe. I'm behind him 100%. Pitch number 2, strike number 2, was nowhere near the strike zone. And this, to me, maybe a borderline pitch. But you feel like there's got to be some give and take here. That second strike, nowhere near that inside corner.
Manny Gonzalez behind home plate. Andy Fletcher is at first. Jansen Visconti, the second base umpire. And Laz Diaz, the crew chief, is at third as Andrew McCutchen will put that one away on a line drive off the bat of JT Realmuto. A couple of strikeouts in the inning for Suarez. We'll see Caleb Smith when we come back. Francisco. Marlins set down 1-2-3 by Andrew Suarez as Caleb Smith is getting set to face the San Francisco Giants lineup. Top of the order is Gorky Hernandez, Brandon Belt, who we did not see in Miami. Andrew McCutchen, who has been red hot the last couple of weeks. And one guy that we will not see likely throughout the series is Brandon Crawford. He is now with his wife right now on the paternity list. They are expecting their 4th child. So no Brandon Crawford, at least tonight and likely throughout the series here against Caleb Smith and the Marlins.
Well, Caleb making his 15th start of the season on the road, 4.41 ERA. So a little bit higher than you see what he is on the season at 3.75. Again, the 4-seam fastball, the changeup, the slider. Slider's going to be a big pitch tonight. Lefty's hitting 143 against it. Righty's 123. He's been pitching great. Marlins have won 4 of his last 5 starts. Remember his last start against the Giants at Marlins Park. Worked into that 7th inning, 3 earned runs. Did give up a homer, but didn't walk anybody. A couple of hot spots. I would say that 2-3-4 combination in the Giants lineup is really what Caleb Smith has got to focus on. Remember, McCutchen and Posey in that last start went 5 for 9.
Gorky Hernandez swings over the top of that one and quickly 0-2. Last 26 games for Gorky Hernandez, hitting a couple of points shy of 300. 5 homers, 11 RBIs. Marlins on a 3-city road trip. Giants just wrapped up a 3-city road trip as this one is out to center field, and Lewis Brinson puts it away for the first out. They started in D.C., went to Miami, then off to L.A. before coming back. And now they'll be home. A place that they haven't been an awful lot this year as Don Mattingly looks on.
Let me give the Marlins defensively for tonight's ball game. Maven gets the start in left, Brinson in center, Anderson over in right, Rivera, Rojas, Castro in board, JT back behind the plate, Caleb Smith on the mound.
It's ball 1 to Brandon Belt. Again, not with the club a week or so ago when the Giants were in Miami. Came back on Saturday after he had to have an emergency appendectomy. He was forced to leave the game on June 1st. He felt ill before the game. It got progressively worse. He left in the 3rd inning, went to the hospital for further evaluation, and now back after roughly 2 weeks or so.
Boy, oh boy, did they miss his bat.
That's exactly what I was just going to say. They're happy to have him back.
Yeah, 350 here at AT Park. He hits lefties well, 294 clip, 405 on base percentage. Does have a couple of homers against the lefties. Homered yesterday against the lefty. Big part of what they do.
Chase is upstairs. May have gotten a piece, but 2 balls and 2 strikes. You mentioned the no walks last time out for Caleb Smith. That's good, but he did give up a home run for the 3rd time in 4 starts. This one popped up. A long run with the shift for Miguel Rojas, who is able to catch it before having a seat in shallow left. Well, now it's probably a good time to talk about the wind here at this ballpark, I'd say.
Well, either that or we could talk about the lack of exit velocity for the Giants in their last start. But you're absolutely right. The wind's swirling tonight. We heard Bone, Perry Hill, infield coach for the Marlins, tell us beginning of this ball game, don't call it early. And that's what you see Rojas doing. Make sure you get set. Keep a strong, wide base, as wide as you possibly can, so that you don't lose your balance. Do your best to make that catch. So 2 down.
18-mile-an-hour winds as Andrew McCutchen takes a called strike. A little bit like Wrigley in a sense.
It can be, except it's, generally this time of year you don't think of the temperature being as low as it is. It's the other thing that kind of goes along with this. It takes you back to April. You're not supposed to feel April in the middle of June and July, right?
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
All right, Caleb, I had mentioned that last start. It was very impressive. 4th lowest exit velocity against. We talk about pop-ups. He induced a career-high tying 8 pop-ups.
This one a cue shot, and unable to corral it. Caleb Smith on the flip from Bohr, and McCutchen will reach with 2 away here in the 1st.
Well, everything about this slow roller to the right side is done properly except catching the baseball. Caleb will tell you I should have had it. Probably took his eye off it just a split second, almost assuming the ball had gone in his glove, and he ends up missing it.
And it's going to be Caleb Smith that gets the error on that one, and E1. He kind of, it looked from here like he ran directly to the bag, and I've heard you kind of find a spot 30-ish feet up the first baseline and then run up the baseline alongside the runner. That way you're not finding the bag and the ball at the same time.
Yeah, it's a good point, but again, the #1 rule is get over as quickly as possible. Make sure you beat Andrew McCutcheon to the bag. I just think it's as simple as his eye. He just took his eye off the ball. He maybe was looking down at first base. That's a great point, but again, got to catch it before you tag the bag.
0-1 to Buster Posey, who takes a called strike. Mentioned that 3-city road trip that the Giants were on that road trip. Posey 7 for 35. It's a 200 batting average. He hasn't gotten a hit in the last 3 games. 0 for his last 11.
Well, in fact, got a couple games off in LA. He's been dealing with some hip and back issues.
And they've got McCutcheon off of first base. Bohr with it, flips to Castro, who tags McCutcheon. And Caleb Smith gets himself out of trouble in the first inning. We're scoreless. After the error, Caleb Smith picked off Andrew McCutcheon. It'll go down as a caught stealing, but nonetheless, we get through one scoreless. Here's the Giants defense.
The Giants defensively for tonight. Williamson in left, Hernandez in center. McCutcheon gets the start over and right. Sandoval in. Evan Longoria out. He's going to miss some time. Broken bone in his hand. Tomlinson, Panic, and Belt. Posey behind the plate.
And it's Belt who flips to Suarez. And Bohr is retired on 1 pitch here in inning number 2. Stay tuned in the middle of the 7th inning for the Ram game break. As Cameron Maben steps in, playing left field tonight. Of course, he played a little bit in the National League, right, with the San Diego Padres. He's obviously with the Marlins a little bit, but I asked him before the game about playing down the lines and right about where that foul ball went. Now, he's in left tonight. That's down the right field line, but the mounds, the bullpen mounds are on the field, and he said he had never played at this ballpark in the corners in right or left. So we'll all kind of see how that goes. This one is driven out to center field. Gorkys Hernandez back a few steps, and there are 2 away.
Well, I'll tell you what, Marlins have been aggressive. I believe that's 4 consecutive pitches. Now it's turned into 3 outs, but you've seen an aggressiveness from this Marlins team. They really want to get after Suarez. Told you during the scouting report, 12 for 24 on that first pitch. That's a .500 batting average. So certainly makes some sense to see this Marlins group aggressive.
Lewis Brinson with nobody on and 2 out. Cuts and misses at the first one, and it's 0-1.
Brinson 2 for 8 on the road. Couple of triples in Baltimore. RBI. Much more productive month of June. 277 with 10 RBIs, 15 games this month.
And he fared very well against the San Francisco Giants in Miami. He was 5 for 15 with 4 RBIs, including the sacrifice fly, as he just kind of punches this one fouled on the right field line. The sacrifice fly in the bottom of the 9th inning of that 16-inning affair. So it's all his fault, really.
That was a great at bat.
Absolutely. No, I kid. But yeah, sacrifice fly. And that's what we have seen is those, you know, the better at bats, the better situational hitting. Of course, that was the only game the Marlins lost in that series, as Suarez gets his 3rd strikeout of the game through an inning and a half in San Francisco.
Second inning. Please join us for Salute and Serve Monday, presented by TIKD Ticked, June 25th, as we invite those who serve to join us for a ball game. Active and retired U.S. military personnel, veterans, firemen, and policemen receive 2 complimentary tickets when showing their official service IDs at the center field entrance at Marlins Park. For more information, visit marlins.com/offers.
Buster Posey, who was in the box in the bottom of the 1st inning when Andrew McCutchen was caught stealing, will lead things off. And this one is sent out to center field. Brinson in and then out, and this one goes over his head as Posey is into second base. Well, again, we talked about the wind, and on the swing, it looks like a routine fly ball, but having not played here, there are no routine fly balls.
Well, he never really asked for help, and I guess that's what surprises me the most right there. This has got to be more about the wind than maybe the high sky. It is twilight, the sun is going down, and it can be a difficult time to see the baseball. But he did not throw the arms out, which is, you know, we talk about signs of panic in the outfield so that you can get help from your outfielders or your infielders. Brinson really never displayed that. We thought I personally thought he had it all the way till about the last second.
As did I. But it will be a double for Buster Posey. And now Mac Williamson fouls the first pitch back and out of play. 0-1. Mac Williamson is the left fielder tonight for the San Francisco Giants. Just 2 hits in his last 19 at-bats 4 for 24 on that road trip for the Giants. And it's 0-2. Missed 27 games already this season because of a concussion. 210 average, 5 extra base hits, and 3 ribbies in the 19 games since coming off the disabled list. And that's the thing, is that with this club, the San Francisco Giants, it seems like, and from what we've heard, it's like a step forward, 2 steps back, or 2 steps forward, 1 step back. However you want to look at it, they're not moving in the right direction.
I'm on board. I get what you're saying.
Consistently.
Absolutely right. It's complicated.
Injury-wise.
There's no doubt about it. You know, they've had issues on the road. They've played particularly well at home. I mean, there's one thing that really stands out. They've been a tremendous offensive team at home. They've just pitched okay. This is supposed to be a pitcher's park. I mean, there's a lot of things that are going on with the Giants right now that don't all add up. It's kind of why they've been hovering around 500, at least in my personal opinion. They've been on fire here at home.
Yeah.
One of the best records in all of baseball. 19-11 at home, 7-1 in their last 8 games. They've been scoring 6 runs a game here. Now, they haven't played very many home games, but they're about ready to. They'll play 20 of their next 26 here at AT Park.
Chop to third. Rivera with a long throw and dug out by Bohr. 1 away. And Posey has to stay at second base.
Well, I'll tell you what, there wasn't a whole lot about that at bat that led me to believe Williamson was really trying to take a shot to the right side. He was swinging like he was trying to drive him in. As I did say, the Giants have been very good offensively here over their last 8 ball games.
Just talking about Williamson missing time with a concussion. This young man, Joe Panik, has missed 31 games with left thumb surgery. So you talk about all the key cogs, or a lot of the key cogs for the San Francisco Giants, just going back to a week ago.
Right.
We mentioned they didn't have Brandon Belt. He was working his way back. They can see and sense that he's on his way back, and then boom, Evan Longoria is out. So again, not at full health. And listen, you go around Major League Baseball, I don't think anybody's going to feel bad for you, but this is kind of the way things have been going for San Francisco.
Well, you mentioned Panik struggles since returning from the disabled list June 1st. 11 for 55. Really struggling, trying to get that swing back.
Ball and a strike to Panik. Up the middle, and that's going to get through for a base hit. Posey's getting waved around. Brinson will throw home, and it gets all the way through to Ramiro, but it's an RBI single for Joe Panik. The Giants have a 1-0 lead.
Yeah, one thing that we learned early this afternoon is how slow this infield is, but a base hit that gets through is going to slow down an awful lot, and it's really why Brinson's got no shot at a play at home. Yeah, it's hard hit, even skips off the mound, but look how far he has to come in order to just get that throw off. You see Posey's 3/4 of the way around third base already. So the Giants able to capitalize on the missed fly ball here in the 2nd inning.
And in steps Pablo Sandoval. Tell you what, Holly, I'm not worried. Marlins trailing the Giants. I don't feel worried at all.
Are you basing that on the last series they played?
Basing it on the fact that they came back 8 times in the 4 games of that series. Yes.
I kind of mentioned it. Sometimes it's hard to peg, and we kind of made our way out west an awful lot this season already. The Marlins, you know, we got to Arizona, and the story in the desert was they couldn't hit it in Arizona.
Sandoval drives one out to left field. Maben is back, and that one is gone. It's a home run for Pablo Sandoval, and the Giants have a 3-0 lead.
Well, about as fast as I said it, it starts to happen. Right? Cold, chilly night, winds swirling, and the Giants' offense is alive and well. Their struggles on this road trip. Pablo Sandoval.
Let's take one more look at this. There's that railing there. Marlins not going to take a look at it.
Well, that is the first home run that Caleb Smith has given up on his slider this season. As hard as that is to explain, Pablo Sandoval was hitting 148 against lefties.
Now in straightaway left field, where that ball was hit, you did see a fan kind of reach over. There's a small fence, I guess you could say, beyond the, or just above the red and green wall. But anything over the actual padded wall is the home run. So even though the fan reached over the railing, if you will, didn't interfere with the ground rules here at AT
Yeah,
Park.
there's some space in between the two.
Right. But that's the thing. Some walls and some ballparks are a little trickier than others. There's, the wall out in right center field, for example. There's the padded wall, and then there's the brick. Wow. And someone just made an amazing catch in the front row right in front of us. She looks right over to the Giants broadcast booth and says, "Put me on." That's exactly what Caleb Smith just did to Kelby Tomlinson. Put him on with a walk. 1 on and 1 out here in the second. Tomlinson, the other half of the roster move today, which had Brandon Crawford placed on the paternity list. So Tomlinson up. And now aboard as Andrew Suarez is at the dish, and he squares to bunt. Pulls back and takes a called strike. Well, another home run given up by Caleb Smith. I mentioned this before, that he didn't walk anybody in his start against the Giants last time out, but he did give up a home run. So 4 homers allowed in his last 4 starts, and now 5 in 5 starts. 4 homers in his first 10 starts of the year. And 0-2. Rivera creeping in from third, still expecting a bunt with 2 strikes. And Suarez strikes out for out number 2. Hey, Marlins fans, take the Marlins anywhere you go with the Fox Sports Go app, presented to you by Coors Light. You can download it and take Holly and I anywhere you want to go.
San Francisco.
San Francisco, great choice.
There you go.
Absolutely. If you're going to San Francisco,
bring a jacket.
No.
What?
Be sure to wear a flower in your hair. Come on. The song?
Oh.
Do I have to sing it for you now?
No, that's unnecessary. It's chilly out, though. No, we just need a.
I won't.
It's cold.
It is
jacket.
Right. Absolutely. Outside to Gorkys Hernandez, who lined out to center field in the first inning. A 1-0 lead for the Giants. A 3-0 lead for the Giants, rather, here in inning number 2. The RBI single from Joe Panik and the 2-run home run from Pablo Sandoval. And as Speaking of that home run, just the second against a left-handed pitcher for the Kung Fu Panda in the last 4 seasons. Back-to-back strikeouts for Caleb Smith. San Francisco is up 3-0. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Miami Marlins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Miami Marlins. As Miguel Rojas takes ball 1. It's Rojas, Rivera, and Caleb Smith. Miguel Rojas back in the starting lineup for the first time since Friday. First action of any sort since Friday night. He was hit on the hand, and then the ball bounced up and hit him in the right cheek, the exposed right cheek. The reason why he's wearing that left cheek flap is because the same thing happened to him a few weeks ago. He got hit, ball bounced up, got him pretty good in the face, and I saw him around the cage today, and I said, Miguel, he sends one out to center field, and Gorkys Hernandez is there. I said, I know what I'm getting you for Christmas, a football helmet. And he goes, I know, that's why I'm wearing this flap, is to protect it. I said, when they say turn the other cheek, they don't really mean it. So there's that.
Or you can just wear a football helmet.
Or you wear a football helmet, exactly.
Either one.
Either way. But he's tough. He's a gamer. He doesn't need that. But good to see him back. He says he's feeling a lot better. There was some swelling in the hand, but a few days off to rest and recoup, and he's back at it.
Well, good to see Yadiel Rivera back in there this evening. 1 for 3 yesterday, a couple of hits on the road trip.
Seemed to get a few more starts the last few weeks. It had been somewhat sporadic, without dissecting every single game right now. It seemed like it was once a week, but he keeps doing that. He's going to find himself in the lineup more often as he kicks off the wall, and McCutcheon's throw is late to second base. It's a double for Yadiel Rivera with one out here in the third.
I'll tell you what, isn't it funny? You know, you watch batting practice. You and I go down there every day, and you watch somebody work on something, and you see them kind of consciously make an effort. Like, this is the game plan tonight. I watched Yadiel Rivera hit, I don't know, 25 balls to the right side tonight. And what does he do his first time up? Line one down the right field line for a double. You know, great swing, great approach. I'll tell you right now myself, I saw him practice it about an hour ago, so not surprised at that swing.
Caleb Smith swinging at the first pitch. Boy, he sees something in Suarez that he likes.
Well, he went to the same spot again. I think that's why we're all chuckling just a little bit. We didn't even have a chance to tell you about it. Caleb Smith, a couple of hits against Suarez last time out. Both those hits right back through the box. Gets another fastball and hits it hard. Suarez defends himself much better this time.
He got his first career RBI against Suarez. I thought maybe he'll square to bunt. Nope. He's taking his hacks against Suarez.
2 for 2, man.
That's right. Dan Straley and Derek Rodriguez, the two starters tomorrow night. Middle game of this 3-game series. Marlins live pregame show at 9:30. First pitch a little after 10. As Starlin Castro offers at the first pitch and fouls it away.
Think they were listening to the scouting report?
Yeah, 25 pitches and 2 outs in the 3rd inning.
I'm telling you. Well, that's what the numbers tell you. I mean, the numbers don't lie. 12 for 24 on that first pitch at the at-bat. We've watched. There was a stretch. It was an inning or two ago. I think it was 7 consecutive pitches were swung at.
I mean, I'm sure there's good food in this town, but I don't think it's got anything to do with dinner plans.
That's right. 7:15 start time.
That's right. That's right. You're going to make it up somehow.
Castro down to the count 0-2. He's done a nice job out of the leadoff spot. 360 on base percentage. Obviously, he's going to have to battle back this at bat.
Off-speed pitch misses the ball in 2 strikes. So of the 6 starting pitchers in this series, there are 4 of them that are rematches. We'll see on Wednesday afternoon for the first time this year.
You think
Derek
we're the only
Holland and then Jose Urania?
Do you think we're the only ones in baseball that are going through this? Like we're, you know, all this. I've never seen the overlapping like this ever.
It is something where we got the Padres kind of out of the way, only playing a home and home essentially, and it felt like we did exactly that. Well, Crawford's not here. Tomlinson is, but a very nice defensive play deep in the hole by Kelby Tomlinson to take away a hit and probably an RBI from Starlin Castro. We're used to Crawford making plays like that. 3-0. Todd Hollinsworth and Jessica Blaylock. First of a 3-game series between the Marlins and the Giants, as Brandon Belt will lead things off. Andrew McCutchen and Buster Posey to follow against Caleb Smith here in the 3rd. Smith rocks and fires to Belt, who takes called strike 1. Belt popped up into shallow left field back in inning number 1. Right at 300 with 12 home runs and 33 RBIs on the year. Called strike 2. Enters the day 5th in the National League in slugging at .548, 4th in on-base percentage at .397. And now you begin to understand why they missed him so much for the 2 or so weeks. All three of the Giants' runs in the bottom of the third inning. An RBI single from Joe Panik, a 2-run home run from Pablo Sandoval. Still 1-2. One thing that has been happening is the home runs for Caleb Smith. We noted that. One thing that's been happening a little bit less, and it's not a bad thing, is there have been less strikeouts for Caleb Smith. And this Giants team doesn't strike out that much to begin with. So you figure back-to-back outings, he's probably not going to have too many. But if you go back and look at Caleb Smith's last, 4 starts backwards, 4 last time out, then 5, then 5, then 4. I mean, he was going 10 and 9 and 8 and 7 for a little while. But again, that's not a bad thing because he's been inducing a lot of soft contact, a lot of pop-ups the last 3 or 4 starts.
That's absolutely the truth, and that's certainly what you want. You're okay with that if you can actually turn that into a longer outing.
Right.
Better pitch numbers inside of innings, meaning if you're knocking 16 down to 14, you're in a good spot. Don't know where that missed. Just off that edge by a little bit. And he's been good. He's been in the zone a little bit more, and you're absolutely right about the type of contact that he's been getting, and certainly what you want to see him do.
Up the middle, Rojas is there behind the second base bag, and he gets Brandon Belt for out number 1. Time now for the Toyota Inside Look. Best winning percentages against the Giants since 2011. The Miami Marlins at 31-19. Better than the Nats and the Reds and the Pirates and the Cardinals. And it's not like the Giants have been a slouch since then.
No, they certainly have not. And I think the thing that's so interesting about it, obviously you're getting to how great the Giants have been. Sometimes you just can't explain it. The numbers are what they are. I mean, the Marlins have played great against the Giants just a handful of days ago. And part of that is that this Marlins roster has been completely turned over from last year. So, you're not explaining it in that it's just, guys who have got great numbers against the organization and we're running them out year after year and they win year after year. Things have changed.
Don Mattingly's been here for a few years of that success, leading the season series now, obviously 3-1, of course. They took 3 of 4 last week in Miami. Upstairs to McCutchen, 2-1. They look at the series recap. It was even for the most part, right? I mean, pretty much.
Well, other than the fact that the Marlins scored last. I mean, they came back 8 times in that series. You're right. I mean, it's kind of sometimes you have a team's number, and for fans to understand why it's difficult to explain. You look at that and you say, well, it's even across the board. In actuality, you're right. It absolutely was. But what's the one thing that we know stood out in that series? Late. The Marlins bullpen outpitched the hot Giants bullpen, made better pitches, didn't get themselves in any trouble, and actually played a better defensive game. So the little things that factored in mattered.
Don Mattingly called that series the most complete baseball that the Marlins have played all season long.
When you look at the Giants, their last 7 losses have been by 1 or 2 runs. And if that's a fact, what's the margin? Very little.
Right. Meaning
little tiny things are deciding these ball games, and the Marlins did a better job of that in Miami.
After the walk to McCutchen, Buster Posey fouls this one back and out of play. 0-1. Posey had a double out to center field in inning number 2. There's a ball that went up in the air. Brinson looked like he had it, and we're assuming it was the wind, which has been blowing. At one point we saw it at 18 miles an hour. Three-run cushion for the Giants right now, but you mentioned the 1-run games that they've been playing in. Through June 10th, they were 17-14. Since then, 0-5.
Yeah. And a lot of times that margin really shows itself on the road. That's you see it. Everybody suffers from this. You go out on the road and that you're scoring so many runs, and the next thing you know, the other team is, and then it's the smaller things that start to pop up, and you watch the road record go down.
Low and into Posey, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
It's like trying to explain to people why are the Giants all of a sudden, you know, they're a juggernaut at home in what we know to be one of the toughest places in all of baseball to hit. They've been this incredible offensive team that's got a 276 batting average at home. That's best in all of baseball. Like, how do you explain those things in particular years? What, it was the wind blowing in a different direction? Is that, I mean, right. Climate change? I mean, what is it?
Right.
And we've seen a lot of that this year, but I find these dynamics in the sport so interesting, especially for fans. What do we know about the Giants this year? They're 7-1 in their last 8 games here at this ballpark because their offense has been off the charts good.
Well, you say it all the time about the Marlins. You have to know what brand of baseball you play. Right. And for the Marlins, as it is for the Giants, maybe not this year so much, but in years past, it's like, just keep it close, right. Keep it low scoring. We'll figure out a way to beat you.
But that's not really how it is this year. Their pitching's actually been okay,
right.
And the offense has been a lot better. That's what's so interesting about this group. Even here at AT Park, they're pitching at 3.79 ERA. That's 15th in baseball. In Major League Baseball at home. I mean, that's, you know, it's okay. It's right in the middle of the pack. Usually, you know, you're talking top 3 when you say, well, how's it going in San Francisco? Well, they scored 3 runs last night. A big number.
Yeah.
Usually.
Payoff pitch to Posey. And that one will reach the seats. He'll see another.
Yeah, we'll give you a good look at it. 10 games under on the road. 8 games over at home. And I mean, it's just, that's not the way it's supposed to be. This is almost like talking Coors Field, but you're flipping it around. You know what I mean? You're not supposed to be averaging 5+ at home. That should be a road number.
Well, that win percentage at home versus the road is the largest gap in Major League Baseball.
Right.
So they are quite literally 2 different teams, home and road.
Well, I mean, having played here as a visiting player enough in my career to know how this ballpark plays, I mean, I get the home field advantage. These are some of the best fans in all of baseball. This is a tough place to play. I get it. It's just the storyline behind it.
That's Rojas at short, gets up and throws. Dug out by Moore. No. And over to third goes McCutchen. I think the Marlins may have caught a break. At first glance, I think that ball got by Bohr, but hit off of Posey and kept it close to JB. We'll see it again.
I think you're right. Nice effort, incredible effort by Rojas. Gets off a pretty quick throw. You see the ball get by, actually got him up by the cheek, oddly enough. See Posey hustling down the first baseline. Here's a good look.
Oh, it hit Bohr.
Well, everybody reacted, and McCutchen moved up a base, so it's probably going to go down as a hit and an error.
I think they're just giving the error to just the error and not the hit to Rojas.
No hit.
I probably would have sided with you, but either way, it is first and third and 1 out. Double play still in order. If Caleb Smith can get Mac Williamson to hit one on the ground at this incredibly stout Marlins infield defense. This one lined back to the screen. 1-1. While Suarez has been quite economical, he was at what, 25 pitches through 2 outs in the 3rd inning through 1 out. Caleb Smith is into the 60s. Suarez 28 pitches through 3 innings. Smith more than twice that with just 1 away. Chased upstairs. Ball and 2 strikes.
Well, Williamson does not get cheated. He's got a big swing. He homered in Miami.
2 balls and 2 strikes. This one on the ground, but it gets through the left side for an RBI single for Mac Williamson, and it's 4-0 San Francisco.
Juan Nieves out to talk to Caleb Smith. The strikes have not necessarily been bad strikes, other than the fact that a few of them have been up in the strike zone. Williamson out and got a changeup right there.
Last time out against these very same Giants, a season high 107 pitches. He's already up to 65 with 1 out in the 3rd. 2 on for Joe Panik, who had the RBI single in the 2nd inning. And that one just off the outside edge, a ball and no strikes. He had his 100th strikeout of the season in that game. He's got 2 so far here tonight, but 4 runs in, 4 hits, and a couple of errors on the Marlins. 2 balls and no strikes. This one is driven out to right field. Anderson takes a peek at the wall, and he'll gather himself and fire in. But scooting over to 3rd is Buster Posey.
Yeah, nice job by Brian Anderson. Back to the wall, making a good catch there. Join us on Friday, June 29th, when the Marlins take on the Mets for fireworks at the park. Which all the action at 7:10, and then enjoy a post-game fireworks display with the 305 skyline as a backdrop. Purchase your tickets for fireworks presented by T-Mobile at marlins.com/tickets.
There's Pablo Sandoval, a 2-run home run back in the 2nd inning. As JT comes out from behind the plate, gives the infield some signs with 2 outs. In case the Giants want to get a little tricky with runners on the corners.
Well, if you missed it, there it is. Pablo Sandoval jumped all over a slider. This has not happened yet this year. Well, I'm not talking about the home run. I'm just talking about a slider being hit out by Caleb Smith. His has been one of the best in the game of baseball, and well, Pablo Sandoval jumped all over it.
This one out to left field, not going to get out. Maben is there and puts it away for the 3rd out of the inning. But the Giants add another and lead it 4-0. deficit for the Marlins. Coming up tomorrow, be sure to tune in to the Marlins Live pregame show, presented to you by your South Florida Honda dealers, Craig Minervini and Jeff Nelson on the other side of the country. Late night email and Twitter Tuesday as they preview Dan Straley and Derek Rodriguez. The second consecutive pitcher rematch between these two clubs as Brian Anderson leads things off. Anderson, Realmuto, and Bohr here in the fourth inning, as a Marlin doesn't swing the bat. 19 of the first 28 pitches offered at by the Marlins.
Yeah, there was some game planning going on there, no doubt about it. It hasn't turned into a lot of hits yet.
Right field, this is McCutchen back on the edge of that weird track out there, and he makes the catch for the first out. Kind of juts back as the wall does, but one away.
Well, I think they choose the word unique, probably.
Unique, yeah, it's probably better. I don't have a big vocabulary, so I just go with weird.
Well, you're right. The Marlins have been much more aggressive tonight. It just hasn't paid off yet. We'll see if they keep the same approach. As far as really has not had to steer off the game plan, which is really just attacking the strike zone with fastballs. You see it. He just kind of continues to pound both edges. There's a few breaking balls here or there, but not really what his sequencing normally is. So many quick outs.
Fouled back, and it's 0-2.
He's got 5 pitches: four-seam fastball, sinker, change, slider, curve. He's really just worked with that four-seam fastball and the sinker, occasional changeup.
And now the 0-2 pitch misses upstairs and away. 1-2 to Realmuto, who lined out to McCutchen to end a 1-2-3 first inning. And now this one down the left field line, giving it a look out there is Williamson, but into the seats. Still 1-2. And the 1-2 now from Suarez. Fights off another, does JT, and this one hit pretty well, actually. Driven out there in foul ground. Another nice catch by a fan. We looked it up today as we're standing around the cage. People are wondering, has a right-handed hitter ever registered one of these 78 splash hits into McCovey Cove? The answer is no.
It's no easy task to hit a ball with incredible authority. I believe majority of those splash hits are property of Barry Bonds.
You are correct, sir.
With that being said, that getting it up over that wall, not an easy thing to do. Fastball in, taken for strike 3, 4th strikeout of the game. You see it there, only 309. So you say, oh, well, what are you talking about? It's only 309, but that's got to be a 30-foot high wall. Then you factor in the cold temperatures, the conditions, the wind blowing in. You see the flag just above that. You pan up, you'll see the flag is kind of blowing across. So it's knocking it down. So for a righty, my goodness, I can't even imagine what you would have to do in order to hit one over there. And I can speak to this a little bit. When I took batting practice with Mike Piazza, when I was with the Dodgers, we watched this all the time. Mike would try to do it. And Mike was one of the best opposite field power hitters in the game of baseball, really ever, at least in my personal opinion. And he couldn't do it.
Well, not only that, not only is it all of the things you mentioned, there's also a sidewalk, a walkway back there, too. So it's not as though the Cove is just beyond the 3 or 4 rows back there. There's even more real estate behind it.
Well, you've got to have tremendous ball flight, and it's got to carry over everything at that height. So we're talking, you know, elevated exit velocity, along with trajectory.
Justin Bohr with a ground ball to the right side. And Kelby Tomlinson over to first base. 1, 2, 3, 4th. 4-0.
One of Perry Hill's all-time favorite players. Earlier today, Perry had a chance to stop by the statue, take a picture. I asked Perry, what do you love so much about Willie Mays? And he said that basket catch. You always knew when Willie tapped his glove, guys, he was going to make that terrific basket catch.
Jessica, thanks so much. Yeah, there you have it. Bone was here early, by the way. I'm just rolling out of bed, and Bone's already tweeting and Instagramming this stuff. He got here at about 9 a.m. today.
I warned you about this when you signed up.
That's right. As Kelby Tomlinson is hit by a pitch on the first pitch from Caleb Smith in the inning. You see Dave Van Horn over there on the right side of the screen, the incomparable Kyle Seeloff in the background, and Glenn Geffner. Now, we were talking with DVH, the Hall of Fame radio voice of the Marlins, before the game, and he said he used to love coming here or Candlestick Park or wherever it was in San Francisco and always talking with Felipe Alou, who was and still is very close with Willie Mays. And he said, I would go. And now this is a Hall of Fame broadcaster that we're talking about. He's seen 1 billion games. He said, I would just walk in and listen to those two guys talk and laugh with them and everything else. So, yeah, the stories of Willie Mays, I'm sure that DVH could tell. There's a strike to Suarez. He struck out trying to bunt in the second inning. May think about it again here. We shall see. And again.
There's definitely some indecisiveness there. Part of Suarez. This being his second time up, you'd think he would be a little bit more confident trying to get this sacrifice bunt down.
Well, again, he's going to offer with 2 strikes.
You're absolutely right. He's going to offer, and that's going to be it.
Again, he's going to strike out.
FPL is proud to support our first responders in good weather and bad. See how at FPL.com.
Well, it's now 3 strikeouts for Caleb Smith. But the Marlins are down 4-0 here in the bottom of the 4th inning. And that is 86 strikeouts on the season for Caleb Smith. So 14 away from 100.
He's chasing Jose Fernandez. His first half record of 103.
And big swing and a miss from Gorky's Hernandez. A strikeout victim his last time up, 0 for 2 in tonight's ball game. The big blow, the 2-run home run for Pablo Sandoval in the bottom of the second inning.
You're right. That was an oddity in and of itself, other than, in that it was a slider that was hit out by a hitter who hadn't hit, what, second home run last 4 years right-handed?
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, against his slider. So, and you look at the other 2 runs, of course, you got a little, Giants got a little help along the way. Fly ball to center field that should have been caught, and an error. When you see that 4-0 score, you feel like Caleb's pitched much better than the 4-0.
I'm not telling anybody how to produce their game breaks in the 7th inning, but one of the things that may be covered, another win for the Houston Astros, as Hernandez is called out on strikes. 2 away. Not only did they win their 12th straight game, but they were down a run in the bottom of the 9th inning, and Alex Bregman with a walk-off.
Just accept it.
A 2-run double. They have won 12 in a row.
Just accept it, man.
I am.
They're good.
They are very good.
Really good.
They are extremely good.
I think that's what makes them so dangerous, is that they've got, it feels like 12, 13 different heroes on that team. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Most really good teams have like 4 or 5. Is that fair? Is that a good number?
Yeah.
You think about some of the better teams in baseball. Maybe the Yankees have a few more, but
right.
I think you kind of generally look around and you say, all right, that team's better than everybody else. So they got 4 guys, maybe 5. Change the game, big swing, big moment late in the game. I look at the Astros and I think, much like last postseason, could be anybody.
Yeah. A young team, they'll grow up quick in the postseason, as this Giants club has certainly done. As Belt's not in love with the call. Neither is Bruce Bochy. One more look. They say it was the swing, not the pitch. Third base umpire and crew chief Laz Diaz says he did go around. 0-2. Doesn't offer there, and it's a ball and 2 strikes.
Nice job by Caleb doubling up, trying to get him to go again. He may have caught a break on that second strike.
Runner goes, and this one is past Starlin Castro in right field as a strong throw comes home. And they'll immediately give a base hit to Brandon Belt. That one got out to shallow right field in a hurry. It got up on Castro.
No doubt about it. Playing shallow right. Starts backtracking, trying to pick that clean off to the side, unable to come up with the catch. Strong throw by Anderson. Tomlinson at third.
105 off the bat. Upstairs to Andrew McCutchen, who walked and scored in the 3rd inning. Now up with runners on the corners in inning number 4, as the Giants have had a lot of runners on base today. That one misses upstairs. Something just doesn't feel like Caleb Smith is all that crisp tonight with the command and control. Not what we're used to
He's
seeing.
been on the edges. I think there's a few pitches that he has not been able to get on the corners. He's only walked 1. Of course, you've got the hit batter. I'm sorry. Yeah, he's only 2. He's got 2 walks tonight. He's got to hit a batter. You're right. I think the pitch count going up has not helped either. now up near 90. I mean, he's labored through just about every inning. Only 1-2-3 inning he had was the first after he picked McCutchen off of first base.
And now McCutchen to deep left field, backing up to the wall is Maben, and he has just enough room. A loud third out of the inning. Giants strand a couple, 4-0. Top of the fifth inning, and when you combine the most provocative man in sports with the most interesting man in sports, you get opinion that cuts through the hype. Catch Speak for Yourself with Colin Cowherd and Jason Whitlock weekdays at 5 Eastern only on FS1.
Word.
Cameron Maben to lead things off. Maben, Brinson, and Rojas here in the fifth against Andrew Suarez, who is at 41 pitches, and it was Maben who had his back against the wall to make the catch that ended the bottom of the fourth inning. He lined out to center field in his only at bat tonight, back in the second inning. And lines one into right field for a base hit the other way to lead things off in the fifth. Well, halfway through the second trip around, we'll see if the Marlins have a better feel, or at least better results against Suarez.
Yeah, this is actually where they got him in Miami. This part of the lineup, this time of the game, strung together a couple of hits and were able to push across a couple runs. And Maben continues to impress against the lefties, up near 300. Came in hitting 292, another base hit.
And Brinson jolts one out to left field. That one is off the wall. Maben on his way to third. It will be a double for Brinson. Marlins have a couple in scoring position to lead off the fifth.
Well, good to see the boys stay with the game plan, right? Stay aggressive early in the count, see if he starts to make some better pitches or we get some better swings. How about this? All over it. Elevated fastball. Brinson dots the headlight in the red car, gets himself a double.
Well, whatever changes Brinson has made since June 1st, keep it up. Fourth double of the season. As he has been, I think it's fair to say, it sounds drastic, but I think it's fair to say he's been a different player in June.
Well, get to it in a second. Yeah, the word is consistent. That's the word I think that comes to mind when I see Brinson. One thing that he has not been in any other month this year was consistent. You saw the raw ability, the athleticism, the power, the potential, but you didn't see it consistently. It didn't show itself repeatedly. Every now and again, a really good game, and you kind of walk away and go, wow. But now you're seeing consistency, and here's why. Look at the exit velocity. That's the one thing that really stands out to me. It's gone up almost 5 miles an hour. Now, old school. I know we're showing you new school graphics here, and we're going to give you some old school. The more times you hit the ball hard, the better chance you have of getting hits. It's as simple as that. So you're seeing the production go up. The hard contact rate is up to 50%. And look at that launch angle. So driving the baseball and finding the barrel. I told you, I think it was about a couple months ago, we used to, put tape around our barrels so that we would actually kind of practice hitting that sweet spot, almost like a golf club. There's a tiny sweet spot that you've got on it, whether it's on your driver or whatever. Bats are very much the same way. You've got to hit it in a very small 3-4 inch area in order to get that exit velocity.
Down low to Rojas, 3 balls and a strike. Now, not only for Brinson has it been the hard contact, it's been contact period. That's gone up.
Yeah, you're right.
As of the other day, it was almost at 69%. That's just contact period.
Again, doing it more, right? So, again, hitting the ball harder, more consistently, and hitting the ball more in play, which is giving him better opportunity to get hits. When you're striking out, you can't get a hit, right?
You're right. And a good count to do some damage here for Rojas. That's going to drive in 1, and that's going to drive in Brinson as well. Rojas to second, and he is out. Be an RBI, 2 RBI single for Miguel Rojas. And the Marlins have cut the deficit in half.
Yeah, a great swing of the bat from Rojas as he picks up RBIs number 25 and 26. Williamson a little slide to keep that ball in front. Not sure if that was necessary, but able to put a nice throw on the second base bag and get the out. Had no play at home. This is what he was attempting to do. Let's get Rojas as he slides in. You see the tag, Panic able to push that right hand off.
Time was called. A little bit of confusion. Oh, I think a ball got away. That's what it was. Okay. So back at it with 0-1 on Rivera.
Yeah, with those 2 RBIs, Rojas joins the club of 25 plus. I think we were talking about this just the other day.
Dribbler up the line. Suarez fields and throws. Safe at first. Rivera using the wheels to reach base.
Perfectly placed, much like a base hit bunt. A couple hops on that third base line. A little deep in on the hands, but got out of the box pretty good. He's going to be able to beat it out. Yeah, easy. Second hit of the night for Rivera.
Safe at first, and now J.B. Shuck is in. He'll pinch hit for Caleb Smith.
Yeah, the Marlins now have 7 players with 25 plus RBIs.
RBI distribution for the Marlins as Shuck squares and takes strike 1 as Drew Rosinski is up in the bullpen as Caleb Smith's day is over after 4 innings of work. 4 runs, 3 of them earned. But the Marlins now back in this ball game down 2. Shuck to second base, bobbled by Panic, still gets the lead runner at second base. And they're 2 away.
Well, the string of consecutive hits ends. Shuck safe at first base. That would be 4 here in the 5th. So that offense starting to get better passes as Suarez.
That's what I kind of alluded to, and you pointed it out. This is right about where the offense woke up. A close play over at first, but Shuck is back. Right about
Yeah, those middle innings, 4th and 5th, just went back into my notes and looked at it. 4th inning, base hit, walk, couple of base hits in a row, much like this inning, put together very similarly. If you remember back at last start, Suarez retired the first 8 batters he faced before Caleb Smith actually got to him. The Marlins much better job in the middle innings. Well, why should we be surprised? The comebacks have been the theme all season long.
I told you I wasn't worried. I mean, I told you that at 1-0, but it still goes for 4-0 and now 4-2 with a lot of baseball still to be played. A ball and no strikes to Starlin Castro. It was 0 for 2, a strikeout in the first, and a heck of a play by Tomlinson at short in inning number 3 as Castro takes strike 1.
Castro tied for 6th in the National League with 77 hits.
A couple of doubles in yesterday's ball game that snapped an 0 for 15. As I mentioned before, back in the leadoff spot tonight, had been there for about 2 weeks or so, and then back into the middle of the Marlins lineup for the last 4 or 5 days. But in the top spot tonight, as he gets a piece, 2-2. You can vote for Starlin Castro and any of your favorite Marlins, any and all of your favorite Marlins on MLB.com. As you just saw the little plug there. As Castro strikes out, Ruzinski coming in the middle of the 5th. Aches and pains, trust Cleveland Clinic, Florida, the #1 orthopedic care in Florida. And by the Lincoln Spring Sales Event, drive into spring in a new Lincoln. The Bay Bridge here in beautiful San Francisco. And of course the Golden Gate a little bit further west. Drew Ruzinski takes over for Caleb Smith, who lasts only 4 innings in tonight's ball game. He gave up 6 hits and 4 runs, 3 of which were earned, as Buster Posey leads off and takes upstairs for ball 1.
Rusinski's done a pretty solid job out of the Marlins bullpen. Fastball, slider. He's been able to provide more than one inning on a few occasions, 2 to be exact. With the short starts, you have a couple extra innings that are coming out of that bullpen tonight.
1-1 to Posey. Is chopped to short. That's Rojas with plenty of time. And that is out number 1. Geico presents this day in Marlins history. In 2009, the Marlins beat the Red Sox 2-1. Ricky Nolasco, 1 hit, struck out 5, a game that was shortened to 5 innings because of rain, but all 3 runs came in on a home run. Kevin Youkilis had 1, Dan Ugla had 1, and Ronnie Paulino had 1. Speaking of games that only last 5 innings, the Washington Nationals and New York Yankees completed their suspended game from last month earlier today. And Juan Soto, do
you care to explain the historical event that took place?
I'm trying to get there. I'm just trying to wrap my brain around the most efficient way to do this.
We dedicate the next 5 minutes to you.
Right.
I will just slide over.
That's right. Yeah, so Mac Williamson, Joe Panik, Pablo Sandoval could be the next 3 up for the Giants. So you can watch the game while I try to figure this out. So anyway, so the game was from a few weeks ago. It was before Soto actually made his major league debut. So he's playing in a game that in the record books will have a date prior to his major league debut. You think, okay, big deal. He hit a home run that may have landed somewhere in Maryland, by the way. It was just an absolute bomb as Williamson strikes out. So in a weird way, he hit his first big league home run before his major league debut.
And well, that's how the record books will show it too, right? Yeah. So I mean, again, you almost have to acknowledge it as his first big league home run, because I don't think it's necessarily going to be driven by video evidence.
Right.
I know we're tech savvy now and moving into the future, but right, I mean, we're going to probably still look at it statistically more than with a video.
Right.
So anybody who looks it up and says, hey, when did he hit his first home run? You say, oh, well, it was in that game when he obviously got a pinch hit.
Right. And I believe he pinch hit for Matt Adams. That's the other, funky thing about these suspended games when they get resumed, is that Matt Adams was obviously in the game in May, and now he's on the disabled list. So he pinch hit for a guy who's on the DL. Rusinski 0-2 to Joe Panik. Got an RBI single in the second. Also flew out to right field in the third. The Nationals won the game that was the conclusion of the suspended game 5-3, and the Yankees won the other game that was rained out 4-2. So they played a game and a half in Washington, D.C. today. Panik did go around. A couple of strikeouts in the inning for Drew Rusinski. We're through 5 as the Marlins try to keep this one close. Down a couple heading to the 6th. Craig, thanks so much. First pitch swinging for Brian Anderson. He runs out of the box. He didn't immediately, but that's kind of the wind playing tricks. He realized, you know what, this might blow back into fair territory. It falls in foul, and it's 0-1.
That's a good idea. It almost did. That ball was actually over the fans and kind of hit the sidewall down the right field line.
Those flags are blowing out. Those are stationed in right center field. They are blowing out toward McCovey Cove.
Yeah, it's changed since the game started. It was actually blowing in from right. Now it's blowing out to right.
0-2 to Anderson. It's Anderson, Realmuto, and Bohr here in the 6th inning with the Marlins down a couple. It's changing directions like by the second, actually. I'm watching the center field flags above the scoreboard, and the one in the middle has been going straight out, and then it was going to the right, and then it was going to the left literally within 30 seconds.
Swirling.
Swirling. That's right. That is swirling. Well, maybe a little help on the wind here as this one goes out to center field. And yeah, see, Brinson had trouble out in center, and he'll only play 3 games here. Gorky Hernandez will play 81, and he had trouble. But he does put that one away for the first out here in the 6th. Well, it's time for the showstopper. So this is what we were talking about before, the Juan Soto home run. Where did this one land?
It almost hit Scherzer's right eye.
It's
the blue one.
Yeah. Bob Carpenter, the fine TV play-by-play voice of the Washington Nationals, apparently said, I don't think I've ever seen one hit up there. And he's seen every Nationals game at that ballpark.
He's seen every swing that Bryce Harper's taken in his career. That's a
and
pretty
Adam
high
Dunn.
It's another
Adam
good
Dunn.
name. You're right. Well, that's some pretty high praise for the young man.
Yeah. Let's say, as they did last week in the Bronx, Gleyber Torres and Juan Soto, 2 of the youngest players in the game, going head to head. Those 2 teams using today as a makeup date for about a game and a half. As Realmuto takes ball 3. Hitter's pitch, or a hitter's count at least, but it's rolled to Tomlinson at shortstop, and there are 2 away. Time for the Chevrolet Prospect Spotlight. A guy who we have seen at the big league level at times this year, Dylan Peters. Yesterday against Sacramento, 7 innings, 3 hits, and 7 strikeouts. Couple of stints with the big league club this year.
Reports coming out that this is the best he has looked. So good to see Dylan Peters really finding it again. Solid 7 innings. Marlins definitely keeping him in the plans. I bet you as soon as he strings together 2, 3, maybe 4 of those in a row, depending on circumstance, you may see him here with the big club.
It was his first win of the season. Season high, 7 innings pitched, 7 strikeouts. And the first hit of his minor league career. A double in the bottom of the 3rd. As the Baby Cakes inch closer to the 500 mark. 0-2 to Bohr. Swung on and missed, strike 3. The Marlins go 1-2-3 in the 6th. Trail it by 2.
Burger and Beer Friday is on June 29th when the Marlins take on the Mets at 7:10. Tickets start at just $30. Get yours today at marlins.com/burger.
Mets, by the way, are in control in Colorado, which is the next stop on this road trip. 12-2 in the bottom of the 9th inning against the Rockies.
Sounds like DeGrom finally got some run support.
Yeah, it's been a while. As Drew Rosinski was in control in the 5th inning, setting down the Giants 1-2-3, including a couple of strikeouts. You'll see Sandoval, Tomlinson, and Suarez here in the 6th inning in a 4-2 ball game. First of 3 between these two clubs. This one lined out to center field. Brinson stops in his tracks and makes the catch.
FPL is proud to support our first responders in good weather and bad. See how at FPL.com.
I imagine when it's a line drive, it's a little bit easier with all the wind that we've been
Well,
talking
the
about.
higher it is, the more the wind's going to affect it, and the longer it's going to stay up in the air, it's going to move on you. It's as simple as that. You're absolutely right. As long as you get a good read. Generally speaking, outfielders, we like fly balls. We don't like line drives. They're much harder to read, and they get out to you a lot quicker. But on a night like tonight, I think you're absolutely right.
An 0-1 to Tomlinson down the right field line and into the seats. Tomlinson walked in the 2nd inning and was hit by a pitch in the 4th.
Rosinski into the ball game. Short start for Caleb Smith tonight. Giants up 4-2. We've talked about comebacks throughout not only the series in Miami, but obviously coming back tonight. Marlins down 4-0 at one point. Able to put 2 on the board. The bullpen's been very good since June 5th. 8-5 the team has been. They've stranded 19 of 22 inherited runners. They got a 2.18 ERA. Opponents hitting .203 against the bullpen on the whole. We told you about those improved numbers. We're going to need some of them tonight.
Castro makes the play. 2 down here in the 6th. Well, of course you, unless you're the Tampa Bay Rays, I suppose, who seemingly every other night go with a reliever to start the game. But you know, you want your starter to work deep into the game, and there have been times when this Marlins pitching staff has done exactly that. I mean, there have been times that they have, you know, gone out there for 5, 6, 7 innings at a clip, and that's when this team's been on a good run. But right now, in terms of the pitching staff on the whole, they're doing exactly that. They're leaning on this bullpen, which has been doing a terrific job. And what Don Mattingly talks about nearly on an everyday basis, if the pitching staff can keep us in games, keep us in striking distance, we know we've got a chance to win. Right now, a little work to do, down a couple. But still at least 3 cracks at the Giants as Rosinski gets another strikeout, his 3rd in 2 innings of work, to the 7th, 4-2.
all military families.
Back here in San Francisco, the Golden Gate Bridge, certainly one of the more iconic landmarks in San Francisco, if not the United States of America. A nice, cool night here by the bay. The Marlins down a couple of runs. Paul Severino, Todd Hollinsworth, Jessica Blaylock, thanks again for staying up late as the Miami Marlins continue this three-city road trip from Baltimore to San Francisco to Colorado after a day off on Thursday, as Cameron Maben will lead things off. Maben, Brinson, and Rojas. And a called strike to Maben, who singled and scored in the 5th inning. It's the frame in which the Marlins scored their 2 runs tonight. Giants scored 3 in the 2nd, 1 in the 3rd. And quickly 0-2. Suarez has been incredibly efficient tonight. This just his 74th pitch. He's already got 3 1-2-3 innings. 4 1-2-3 innings tonight.
Yeah, part of that speaks to the Marlins' approach, which has been very aggressive early.
Maben went around, and that is the 7th strikeout. That's what's amazing, too. 7 strikeouts. You get Caleb Smith, right? We're getting to Caleb Smith territory. What do you have, 10 strikeouts on 77 pitches in Milwaukee? I know it's a little different, but sometimes you rack up the strikeouts on a lot of pitches, but not tonight.
Brinson in RBI, excuse me, not an RBI, ringing double to left his last time up.
Teheran Guerrero up for the Marlins after a couple of crisp innings from Drew Rucinski. And Sam Dyson on the other side. Total side note, Giants have to have the largest numbers in the league. The backs of their jerseys. Just, that's all. Just a random thought, but there's no way you don't see the number 49 on the back of Sam Dyson. Look at those things. Those things are massive. They're like hockey numbers. That's all. That's all I got, Ollie. You don't want to participate in this?
I don't know where to go with it.
No, it's just, that's fine.
You want me to agree with you? They're big. I'm
go
with
anywhere. It's just,
they're big numbers.
I prefaced it by saying random thought. I mean,
True, you did.
That's all.
I hear you.
I can't filter everything that comes out of my mouth. The Florida Lottery called to the bullpen, as we'll see number 49, Sam Dyson. That's it for Suarez in a 4-2 game.
OMG. What's today's date?
18. Sam Dyson Everyone deserves a second chance. Just play Grouper. Enter your lucky money ticket online, and you're registered for the $400,000 Super Grouper Second Chance promotion. The Florida Lottery, it's your ticket. You must be 18 or older to play. Play responsibly. He's responsible for the runner on first base after 7 strikeouts. Issued just his first walk of the night, and that was on 4 pitches to Lewis Brinson.
Now Suarez can only win. He cannot lose this ball game. Sam Dyson 2.64 ERA. Sinker, slider, change, occasional curveball. Very good at getting the ground ball out. He's inherited 13 runners, 4 have scored.
There is a ground ball, and Tomlinson gets to it, flips to Panic, and throws to first. And Rojas is doubled up. 1 pitch, 2 outs. And it's time to stretch here in San Francisco with the Marlins down 4-2. That and many other things. It brought me a water when I picked him up at his house one time. Another reason. True story.
Thought you were an Uber driver.
Gorkys Hernandez with the bunt sharply over to Bohr at first base, and 1 quick out here in the 7th inning.
Yeah, that's the attempt at a push bunt. A little too much push, not enough bunt. Quick out. Rosinski's been outstanding. He's recorded 7 outs on 20 pitches.
He's doing the best Suarez impression tonight.
He watched. He said, I kind of dig what's going on over there. All right, 3 strikeouts. I see what he's doing in 2 innings. Keep that up. He's had a very good splitty tonight.
Brandon Belt now swings at the first pitch and comes up empty. He is 1 for 3, singled in the 4th inning. And 0-2. We saw Guerrero up in the top of the 7th inning. He has since sat back down. Might as well ride the wave of Rosinski, who has been incredibly effective to this point. Came in after just 4 innings of work for Caleb Smith. We had a couple of walks, 4 strikeouts, 88 pitches, 55 for strikes. And another strikeout by Ruzinski.
Yeah, another wipeout split finger fastball. Good to see. He has been on his game. The entire arsenal on display. A couple of good curveballs. Occasional slider or two, but a good splitting right there for strikeout number 4.
Now it's time for Lowe's whole team together. Closer look at the San Francisco Giants and their doubles. 127, which is 3rd in the National League. And this man right here, Andrew McCutchen, leading the charge with 20.
Well, thankfully, the other 2 guys on that list unavailable. Well, McCutchen's enjoying one of his best months. Typically a hot June hitter, sitting well over 300 this June. 22 hits, 4th most in the National League, 14 RBIs. That's 6th. Also has 5 home runs.
Well, he, along with Evan Longoria, came over from clubs that they were drafted, developed by, signed long-term deals with. Longoria coming from the Rays, McCutchen coming from the Pirates. And some wondered, and certainly the Giants camp hoped, that a change of scenery would do McCutchen well. Former league MVP. Came over in mid-January in his 10th big league season. Certainly meant so much to the Pittsburgh Pirates. And was one of the guys who was in Pittsburgh when, now you think of the Pirates in the last, 4 or 5 years, that they've been, much more successful, in the playoff picture. But there was a, 20, 22-year stretch where they didn't even have a winning record.
Right.
Never mind playoffs, winning record. And he was there for some of those lean years. And finally was able to enjoy the spoils of the postseason a couple of times. A 5-time All-Star, 4-time Silver Slugger, and as I mentioned, MVP of the National League in 2013. Lines that one foul, still 2-2. To Rivera at 3rd. How about 9 up and 9 down out of the pen for Ruzinski? We head to the 8th.
Well, how about it?
Ball out to center field. Brinson having to deal with that wind. It falls in for a double. Then Joe Panic with the RBI single to bring in Posey, and that got it started. And this, a 2-run home run from Pablo Sandoval, just out of the reach of Cameron Maben. 2-run shot to make it 3-0. Mac Williamson through the left side, a base hit to score a run. And that made it 4-0, but Lewis Brinson helping the Marlins get in position to get a little bit closer. That set up a second and third situation for Miguel Rojas, who drove in a pair and was subsequently thrown out trying to stretch it into a double. But that is where we stand right now. Go to the top of the 8th inning as JT Riddle will lead things off as he pinch hits for Yadiel Rivera. Derek Dietrich is in the on-deck circle, hitting in the spot of Drew Rosinski. Riddle was 0 for 3 yesterday, 3 for 10 in the series against the Baltimore Orioles, 2 for 9 against the Giants in the series prior. Takes off the edge, 2 balls and no strikes. Guerrero up for the second time tonight. And one would imagine that he would get the bottom of the 8th. Here's the 2-0 pitch. There's a tap foul. Dyson got the last out of the top of the 7th inning on just one pitch. Rolled a double play ball to retire Miguel Rojas, get out of a jam as the Marlins were threatening in the 7th. They'll look to start a rally here in inning number 8. Three balls and a strike.
Don Mattingly able to get a couple of left-handed bats into the ball game. And certainly up against Dyson, only chasing 2. Got to get that lead guy on here in the top of the 8th. Running out of time.
It's a heavy jacket, huh? Chilly night.
You think?
I think so, yeah. You wore a vest. You were prepared.
Smart.
Me, not so much. Popped up and out of play. I thought all of our cold packing was behind us.
Nope.
Not the case.
Nope. Well, and to compound it, we've been in summertime everywhere else around the country.
Pretty much, yeah.
You drop it down into the low 60s, high 50s, it feels like 30.
That's right. To the right side, belt to Dyson as we check in with Jessica Blaylock.
Hey, Paul, Buster Posey, such an accomplished big league catcher, but surprisingly, he didn't start catching until college. Florida State originally recruited him as a pitcher who could hit. The Noles thought about moving him to shortstop because of his athleticism, but in the end, they put him behind the plate, and well, the rest is history. A couple of World Series championships as a catcher, a 5-time All-Star, guys. The list of accomplishments for Posey goes on and on.
It is a lengthy list. He was a part of all 3 of those World Series championships in 2010, 2012, 2014. Probably make a strong case at this point for the Hall of Fame. Not going to get into it now, Holly. Relax. Unless you want to. You don't want to talk about Hall of Fame voting, that's fine. You want to talk about All-Star voting?
Not particularly.
Okay. That's fine. Update came out today, the National League update today, and Buster Posey leading among catchers.
Oh, so now I've got to talk about it. Is that what you're doing?
No, you don't want to talk about it? I'll go through it.
Well, that's what I'm looking for. Thank you very much.
Now you want to talk about it?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Have at it, Hoss.
There we go. JT Realmuto, as we know, Buster Posey. I think we all agree. And last time we brought up this conversation, certainly jumped on board with the Hall of Fame conversation. I get it. But this is a unique year, a different year, and a JT Realmuto year. And this is what I'm talking about. Even though he's leading in the All-Star voting, JT is not even in the top 5 right now, and that probably is what bothers me the most. I know that we're showing this, in a direct comparison between Posey and JT. Let's remember this. He's not top 5, and he should be. How is he not even in the conversation right now? That, to me, is what's more frustrating than anything. Look at all those ranks. 300, more homers, RBIs, runs. I mean, there it is. Is that like just about every important number that we could throw at you just off the top without diving into all of them?
I am with you 1,000%. Buster Posey, 686,000 votes. Wilson Contreras, 596,000. Kurt Suzuki of the Braves, 557. Yadier Molina of the Cardinals, 366. Yasmani Grandal of the Dodgers, 333. Now, if you want to sit there and say, well, yeah, but you guys watch him every night, so you've got a horse in the race. You got skin in the game. I would show those numbers right there and say, that's all you need to know. And that's not even taking anything away from Buster Posey. That's not even, those are terrific numbers for Buster Posey.
Hashtag get it right, for crying out loud. It's driving me crazy. You know how it is.
Yeah.
Constantly asking for numbers. I got a laundry sheet over here of everything. Numbers, defensive, offensive. Not just, with Posey in mind. All the catchers in the National League.
There's Starlin Castro, who takes low for ball 1.
Yeah, we got to make a pact. We got to make literally every 3-game series. We got to have this conversation on JT. I really think. I mean, the only way that we can get it out there any more than it is just continue to talk about it.
Right. Yeah, I think that you're spot on with that. And again, that's the whole point. It's not that, well, Buster Posey's having a lousy year,
no, it's not.
But oh, well, he's the popular guy, and that's why he's getting votes. He's having a very good year.
Right.
And the whole point is that in many regards, in the rate stats, obviously because there's a difference in games played, so the totals are skewed toward Posey. But I would certainly be right behind you. If you're leading that charge, I am in your back pocket, pal.
There you go. Yeah, we have to continue to bring it up.
Two balls and a strike to Starlin Castro. Struck out a couple of times tonight. And also had a base hit taken away by Kelby Tomlinson at shortstop back in the 3rd. Sam Dyson's 2-1 pitch. Swings over the top of that one, 2-2. Swung on and missed, strike 3. That'll do it for the Marlins here in the 8th inning. To the last of the 8th, with Posey leading off. Deficit for the Marlins as we head to the bottom of the 8th inning. First of a 3-game set. Paul Severino, Todd Hollinsworth, Jessica Blaylock. Thanks so much for staying up late. Derek Dietrich stays in the game and takes over in left field. JT Riddle stays in. He takes over at shortstop. That moves Miguel Rojas over to second base. Brian Anderson goes to third. There's also a new right fielder. That's Maben, who moved over from left field. And oh yeah, by the way, Teran Guerrero's in. Looks like an all-star game right here. Wholesale changes.
You get a lot of versatility with this roster.
Bingo.
5.52 ERA for Guerrero. He's had his struggles here of late. He's given up runs in his last 2 appearances. I'd like to settle back down, start working ahead of hitters again. Good little challenge for him tonight.
And Riddle, fresh into the ball game, gets tested immediately on the Posey ground out, 1 away. Watch every out-of-market regular season game live at home, in the office, or on the go with MLB.tv. Your subscription includes MLB At Bat Premium, allowing you to watch live baseball on your favorite supported devices. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. There's Mac Williamson, who had an RBI single in the 3rd. Three runs in the 2nd inning for the Giants, and Williamson's RBI in the 3rd. They're only scoring tonight. Right now they've got a 2-run cushion, and figured to see Hunter Strickland in the top of the 9th inning. Giants closer. Marlins will have Anderson, Realmuto, and Bohr due up. Williamson was the 2nd batter that Rosinski faced in his 3 amazing innings of work. 3 innings, no hits, no walks, and 4 strikeouts. Ball 3 from Guerrero. And when you only get 4 innings from your starter, you couldn't have asked for anything more from Rosinski. Kept the game close. In fact, the Marlins offense got the game even closer by scoring 2 runs in the 5th inning.
There's not that vulnerability of overexposure either inside of a series. Remember, a lot of knowledge has already been passed back and forth between these 2 teams over the last week. This is their 5th game, soon to be 6th and 7th game, and if you get exposed, you can become much more vulnerable, you know, with all those innings piling up, particularly out of your bullpen. For the San Francisco Giants, it kind of happened the last game that we played them getaway day in Miami. And a number of their guys that were on the do not touch list on, what was it, Thursday last week?
Yes.
Does that sound right?
The 16-inning game Thursday.
Yes,
yeah.
Thursday, correct. That they couldn't use, where the Marlins were in a much better position. Ended up using Ty Block for most of the extra inning work out of that Giants bullpen.
Williamson draws the 1-out walk. Yeah, to wrap up that point, Rosinski with the 3 innings tonight and the 2 outings that he had against the Giants last week. 4 1/3 innings and 1 hit out of the bullpen.
Good stuff.
Very good.
It's been quite contagious. We ran out those numbers over the last couple of weeks. This bullpen has been not only good, not only survivable, they've been great. I mean, they've been amongst the league leaders. Getting saves, multiple saves. Steck picked up a save a couple nights ago. Ziegler's been doing a fantastic job. He's got a consecutive scoreless appearance streak going, as does Steckenrider, as does Bearclaw. Guerrero's the one they would really love to get back online. He's been off here for a little while. That fastball still playing at 97-99. It's just the command has been much more erratic. He has moments where you're like, oh, he looks locked in, and then he has some moments where that fastball command just gets away from him. more times he can work ahead of hitters, the more he can continue to work on his slider, and his changeup or his two-seamer, which is certainly going to be big for him moving forward.
Pitch to Joe Panik is lifted out to left field. Dietrich had him played perfectly for the second out. Well, coming up after this one, it's back to South Florida. The Marlins Live postgame show presented to you by WB Mason. Craig Minervini and Jeff Nelson just put on a fresh pot of coffee. Back east, they'll hear from Don Mattingly and recap the opener of this 3-game set. And one of the things that they will also show you is the home run that Pablo Sandoval hit from the right side earlier in this ballgame. A 2-run home run back in the second inning. Guerrero misses low. Other than the home run, a fly ball out to left and a line drive to center field. Sandoval in his second stint with the San Francisco Giants. Talked about Buster Posey earlier. Sandoval also part of all 3 of those World Series championship teams. Famously caught the final out in that epic 7-game series against the Kansas City Royals back in 2014 in foul ground. Caught it, went right to his back. Celebration. That was when Madison Bumgarner just, oh man, if you ask me, punched his ticket to the Hall of Fame. We will not, however, see Madison Bumgarner a second time this season, not pitching in the series. It's Derek Rodriguez tomorrow. We will see him on the bench, however. There he is. Derek Rodriguez tomorrow. And Derek Holland on Wednesday afternoon.
Do you remember Sandoval more for the catch, that catch right there that you just described, or is there another event that maybe you remember a little bit better?
The 3-homer
Yeah,
game?
that's the one I was getting at.
Yeah.
That was brought up to me twice today. That's the reason I asked, is because it was such a memorable moment as well.
That one scoots all the way back to the screen, and up to second goes Williamson.
Yeah, when you kind of think about it in today's perspective, and I think at that period of time, Verlander was certainly recognized as one of the most dominant right-handers in the game, without a shadow of a doubt. But I think, you know, you kind of reflect back to the year that he's having this year, almost that next step that I think he's now taken in kind of reclaiming his status as one of the best right-hander, maybe even the best right-hander in the American League. And you think back to Pablo Sandoval in that night, in that game, on that stage against that guy.
Right.
Wow.
In this park. Which
Right.
doesn't yield many home runs.
That's right.
You're right. And that one gets far enough away from Real Muto that Williamson will move up to third.
Yeah, you're getting a pretty good view of what I'm talking about right now with this command. You see the frustration from Guerrero, and that's the fastball command that he has lacked so much. Makes him incredibly vulnerable to an offense. Right now, he is a one-pitch guy.
Well, a big pitch coming here from Guerrero, as the Marlins desperately want to keep this at a 2-run deficit with Strickland looming. Payoff pitch to Sandoval is in there for a called strike 3. Sandoval didn't like it. Doesn't matter. 4-2. Strickland on his way in. West, transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By Sylvester Comprehensive Cancer Center, in pursuit of your cure. And by your South Florida Honda dealers. Back for the top of the 9th inning in a 4-2 ball game here in San Francisco. A look at the Bay Bridge with the lights of AT Park in the background. Hunter Strickland is on to try to close things out in his 34th game this season. He's 13 for 16 in save opportunities. It won't be easy, though. Brian Anderson, JT Realmuto, and Justin Bohr, 2, 3, and 4 due up for the Marlins. Down a pair here in the 9th inning. The Florida Lottery in-game jackpot. All of these numbers are updated up to 32 games for Shin-Soo Choo. Brian Anderson, though, has not reached base yet tonight. His 15-game on-base streak is in jeopardy. That one's inside, a ball and a strike.
Only one unearned run from Strickland over his last 9 appearances. That one unearned run was due in large part to a game-winning walk-off sacrifice fly by the man in the box. Yeah, let's take another look. It's good memories. A couple days ago, right? Nice game in which the Marlins once again battled back. There's Hunter Strickland on the mound, and this sacrifice fly to center field is going to be your game winner for the Marlins. There you go. Good memories and good moment for BA.
Blocked by Posey, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Well, there's been the 15-game on-base streak for Brian Anderson, and he's also been extremely consistent when it comes to the hits. He went 0 for 7 in the last 2 games. That was the first time that he's had consecutive hitless games since April. That's all the more reason why you should vote for All-Star Andy to the All-Star game. 2-2.
And while you're at it, hashtag keep it real. Muto.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's something there. I'm working on it.
Oh, it's already out. You don't have to do any work.
No, but
the work's been done for you.
Yeah, stop. It's not even what I'm talking about.
Stop. If you could see the disdain in his eyes as he tells me to stop. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Good take. Real good take. Another quality at bat from Brian Anderson. He's got to get on. Marlins need a shot. Get something done here in the 9th. Got to go through the middle of this lineup. They've been productive on this road trip. All have had some big moments already. Some of his best work this season has been done with 2 strikes. You see him choke up about an inch and a half on the bat, shorten up and kind of defend the strike zone. Number of base hits the other way.
The 3-2 pitch is outside, and the on-base streak lives. In more of a team sense, it also brings the tying run to the plate with nobody out in the 9th.
Yeah, good quality 8-pitch at bat to start this 9th inning. Bring up JT Realmuto, despite the 0 for 3, has swung the bat pretty well tonight.
Marlins came back 8 times in winning 3 of 4 from the Giants last week, and they're trying to start a rally here as Realmuto will find the gap in left center field. Anderson being waved around third. He will score, and it's an RBI double for JT Realmuto. The Marlins are within 1.
Yeah, those comeback vibes are coming back once again. I mentioned the 8-pitch walk to Anderson. JT jumping in the box, continuing the hot hitting on this road trip. A couple days ago had 2 home runs and using the middle of the field once again. Breaking ball out over the plate, thigh high, rips it into the gap. No doubt extra bases for the speedy Real Muto.
There is your tying run. Can they do it again?
And there is your go-ahead run. Fresh
ball
off
one inside.
Fresh off a 2-home run day yesterday. I'm sure JB. It's easy to get those mixed up on this team.
There's another JT too.
We got JDs. We got all sorts of things going on here. Happy to see Suarez out of the game.
2 balls and no strikes. Bear Claw on the left, Steckenrider on the right. A hitter's count for Justin Bour. Three balls and no strikes. Again, Strickland 13 for 16 in save opportunities. As the pitching coach Kurt Young comes out. Don Mattingly has talked about the patience of Justin Bour. Hasn't been getting as much to hit, so he's had to be more patient. A true power threat for this club. The 2 home runs yesterday. As he takes strike 1. Cameron Maben on deck.
And still sitting dead red, still with a job to do. He can be very, very picky right here if he wants to be, as long as he's confident that he can catch up to the 96.
And he takes ball 4 for a new single season career high 48th walk. And there's still a few games to the season left. He is going to be,
you think,
lifted for a pinch runner. Jose Urania comes out to pinch run.
Good quality at bat by Justin Bour. You can get a whole lot to hit right there.
It's the 2nd walk of the inning. As they start to stir in the Giants bullpen. Maben squares to bunt, pulls it back, but takes strike 1. Maben with a single and a run scored in the 5th. Giants play even with the bag or in at the corners, in a little bit up the middle. Maben squares again, pops it up behind home plate, 0-2. Double-barreled action. The righty Maranta, the lefty Watson.
Giants playing it tight. Not convinced he's going to bunt here with 2 strikes. They've actually backed off. See how the Marlins choose to play this, how Maben goes about it. And he's choosing to swing the bat, feeling he can get the job done.
Strickland walked Anderson to lead off the inning. Then the RBI double for Real Muto. And then a walk to Justin Bohr. And Jose Urena pinch running for Bohr at first. The potential go-ahead run, but the most important run is on second in the speedy Real Muto. The 0-2 pitch is up the middle, and Tomlinson gets there. They get one. Maben beats it out, and the tying run moves to third with one away.
Well, this almost gets through. Nice job by Maben, really shortening up the swing and looking to put the ball in play. Gets it done, able to get it back through the middle, not able to turn two on his speed and get that runner over to third base. Almost that little punch swing as you see right there he took. Shortened up big time. Well, sets up the biggest at bat of the night here against Lewis Brinson.
A huge play at shortstop by Tomlinson. Not the first great defensive play he's made today. It was Brinson that had the sacrifice fly that tied the last of the 4-game set in Miami. A deep fly ball could tie it again here tonight. That one's upstairs.
Well, it's going to be a good test for Brinson. We've talked and showed throughout the last couple of weeks how much improvement Brinson has made. The situation demands contact, particularly at least at a minimum of deep fly ball. And the one thing you do not want to see here is a strikeout.
Williamson, Hernandez, and McCutchen the arms in the outfield. And of course the terrific speed of JT Real Muto at third. A ball and a strike to Brinson. Fouls it off again. 1-2. It's been a good road trip for Brinson. It's been a good month of June for the young man. Hoping to add to it with another clutch at bat here in the 9th inning with his team down a run. And a line drive out to right field. It's going to fall in for a base hit. Real Muto will score. Over to third goes Maben, and he's in there safely as Brinson has tied the game here in the 9th inning.
Yeah, the comeback kids do it again. 9th time this season against the Giants. My goodness, what a good at bat. Elevated fastball away. Great swing. Great base running by Maben late in this game. There it is. Able to barrel up and go that other way. Second hit of the night. Second line drive. After getting a little attention getter on the first pitch, a little payback. A little love across the diamond. Love to see it. Maben really stepping on the gas there. That was not an easy go. McCutchen can still throw the ball pretty well, and again a hard hit ball off the right off the bat.
Once down 4-0, the Marlins have tied it as Rojas takes a called strike. Well, I don't know what Brinson's been eating for breakfast in the month of June, but keep it up.
Well, the biggest difference is he's not missing his pitch. When he likes the ball up. He loves to get his arms extended. Anything up a little bit. With the way his stance is, he stands very tall in the box. He drives. He's just not missing his pitch as much anymore. Simple as that.
This game about confidence, So important, and he has got a boatload of it right now. Check over at Brinson as Maben dances off a third. So for the second time in a week, Brinson has tied the game in the 9th inning against the Giants closer. Rojas out to right field down the line. That's going to fall in. And Maben's going to score. Over to third goes Brinson. And Miguel Rojas comes through with the go-ahead base hit. It's 5-4 Miami.
Keep it coming. Well, Paul, we started this day reminding ourselves how many times this Marlins team has come back against the Giants, how well they played against the National League West, and how well they played against the Giants over the last couple of seasons. This inning, a clear example of what the Marlins have done to the Giants. Battle back, good at bats. What's the reaction from the bench? Everybody loving it. You know, it's funny, this game started with an aggressive approach. They've been very patient here in the 9th.
Florida Lottery call to the bullpen as Strickland is done and Watson is in. Tonight as the Marlins up 5-4 as Tony Watson is in the game. First and third and one out. 3 runs in for the Marlins as Riddle lays down the bunt. But Brinson had to hold up at third. Over to second goes Rojas. And there's 2 outs. Squeeze attempt here? Or is he trying to just bunt for a single?
Yeah, I think it was a safety. I really do. I mean, again, you remember you're not bunting into 2 outs, you know, right, with a runner at third base. I think this was just a read, and he just didn't get a very good read. He felt like third base, Brinson was not going to be able to score. Bunt was just a little bit too hard. But once the bunt's down, you got to come. You got to come full throttle. It's as simple as that. If the safety squeeze was on, it's his responsibility to try to score. Safety squeeze is not a read. Yeah, you're definitely not bunting into a lefty-lefty matchup either. So, yes, safety squeeze. Job was done. Just weren't able to score that second run that you're looking for.
Again, 3 in the inning for the Marlins as once again they have come back against the Giants. Dietrich tops that one wide of the first base bag. 0-2 against Tony Watson. Second pitcher of this 9th inning in his 33rd game this year. It started with an 8-pitch walk for Brian Anderson, who secondarily extended his on-base streak to 16 games, but again, more importantly, began this rally here in the 9th for Miami. Dietrich takes outside, a ball and 2 strikes. Kyle Bearclaw still up in the Marlins bullpen. Drew Steckenrider has since headed back to the bench. 8-9-1 with the pitcher spot mixed in. And a called strike 3. But the Marlins score 3 runs in the 9th inning. And now it's a save situation for Kyle Bearclaw, 5-4. Single to tie the game at 4, and then Miguel Rojas with an RBI single to give the Marlins a 5-4 lead. Brian Holiday in behind the plate, and that moves JT Realmuto over to first base. So the only Marlins starter who is in the same spot now as he was at the first pitch tonight is Lewis Brinson out in center field. Everybody else has moved around. Again, speaks to the versatility of this roster for the Marlins. And I think as we get into the 9th inning in a 1-run game, you look at how this bullpen is done. Again, they got 4 innings from Caleb Smith tonight. Didn't work that deep in the ball game, but Don Mattingly goes to Drew Rosinski, gives him 3 hitless innings, and keeps this game in check and in reach, as Kyle Bearclaw will try to close this one out.
And one of my favorite terms used in the game, and sometimes it's difficult for fans to understand, maintain the deficit. That's what they did tonight.
Kelby Tomlinson to lead things off. Tomlinson walked in the 2nd, was hit by a pitch in the 4th, and grounded out in the 6th. The pitcher spot is next. It's Alan Hansen out in the on-deck circle. Swung on and missed by Tomlinson, 1-1.
And more importantly, Bearclaw on the mound. Look at that number since May 1st. That is best in baseball, ladies and gentlemen. 1 hit in his last 17 innings pitched. 15 2/3 scoreless. He has been locked in, and it has been a 3-pitch approach. You've seen the fastball, you've seen the slider, and yes, the changeup is being used more and more effectively. He is in a good spot right now, as is this bullpen. And he froze him on strike 3. Yeah, that is a lethal breaking ball, especially when you haven't seen one. This starts out at the letters. Watch where it comes out of his hand, and look where it ends up. Hello. Yeah, right about the belt.
Frisbee.
Yeah, a lot of hitters give up on it, and that's why it's such a valuable pitch.
So that'll bring up Alan Hansen, who is 4 for 8 as a pinch hitter this year. He takes low. This one is roped down the right field line, but out in front. 1-1.
It was right on the tip of my tongue. You got to be careful with Hansen. He's reached in 5 of his last 7 plate appearances. Single, couple doubles, a home run, a walk.
One and two.
There's a real good look at his changeup, how it bottoms out. Develops some sink and some run to it. Become a very valuable pitch in the arsenal of Kyle Bearclaw.
Out to left field. Dietrich started out, now comes in and makes the catch for out number 2. Back to the top of the order for Gorkys Hernandez. Marlins were down 4-0 after 3 innings tonight. They scored 2 in the 5th inning and 3 in the 9th.
5 unanswered runs. Yeah, righty's hitting .078 against Bearclaw this season.
Waved at and missed. And the Marlins are a strike away from another comeback victory against the San Francisco Giants. Rojas with the go-ahead knock in a 3-run 9th inning. The 0-2 pitch. Right back to Bearclaw, and he makes the play. The flip to Real Muto, and it's over. It's a Marlins win, 5-4. Another comeback victory against the San Francisco Giants.
Well, what a job by this bullpen, keeping things in check, waiting for this offense to erupt and get some things going here in San Francisco. You had to wait till the 9th, but guess what? They got it done. How about this? Your Bonefish fresh catch of the day. Kyle, once again, getting it done. Boy, oh boy. He is so different this year in that closer's role. So much more confidence and poise. Once again, a 1-2-3 inning. Great victory for the Marlins in Game 1 here in San Francisco.
Yeah, the other thing they caught was the Giants for a 9th time. They have come back in some form or fashion. They have won 4 of 5 against San Francisco this year with a 5-4 win. Marlins